Who is ready to learn tonight? Welcome in everybody to day one of the Replace Your Income Challenge. Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me and you can see me okay. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me and you can see me okay. Marilyn, what's up? It's good to see you again. Who else we got? Chris, what's up, Chris? Good to see you as well. If you're watching over in YouTube or Facebook, welcome in as well. I see a bunch of individuals in Zoom. Hey, Tom, good to see you. I love the background. You came prepared and ready to go. Bob, good to see you as well. Eduardo and Gabriel. We're going to get started in just a few minutes as the room fills up here. But listen, my name is Michael, and I'm so excited to be spending this next hour with you, well, next 5 days, really, with you. We have such an amazing experience planned for you all, and if you were here in the VIP kickoff yesterday, you know that this week is going to be phenomenal. We actually started yesterday with VIP in Zoom, just hearing ways that we could win together. We shared goals with each other, and then just got prepared for this week. But if you're here and you weren't at the call yesterday, it's okay. It's okay. This is officially day one. We're getting started today, and I'm so excited that you could be here because this event is going to, I truly believe, transform some lives. And you may be like, Michael, that's a very bold statement. What makes you think that you're going to change my life? Listen, I've been in events like this time and time again. I've been in events where there's hundreds and thousands of people. I've been in events where there's 5, 10, 15 people. And as long as you take the information that's given in this event and you do one thing, and it's take action on it, I can guarantee you that by the end of this event, you're going to walk away thinking different. You're going to believe different. You may even act different, invest different, right? That's our goal, is that we show you the new way of investing. But just know it takes you going all in this week with us. So if you are willing to go all in with us this week, just put a yes in the chat. If you're willing to just dive in, do whatever it takes to win, learn and implement, just put yes in the chat. I want to see who's with us today. And listen, you're going to know we're very, very engaged. We love to engage in the chat. That's just who we are. That's what we do. So go ahead and let us know in the chat. Put a yes so that we make sure that we are all on the same page. Now, Gabriel says yes. Marilyn says yes. Awesome. We're good to go. Now, before we get started, before I bring the dream team up here, I want to go ahead and talk about a few things real quick. Number one, if you are in Zoom, go ahead and get your camera on if at all possible. The only way you're really going to maximize this event is if you show up ready to learn, and one of the ways to do that is through your camera on. And Dave and Doc this week are going to do a tremendous job including you all in Zoom, those of you all that are VIP, into the teaching. So if you could have that on, it just helps us build a better connection. Number two, regardless if you're in Zoom or Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching, go ahead and grab a pen and paper ASAP and put the number 2 in the chat after you've done that. That'll just let me know that you're an action taker, that you're actually ready, you're prepared. But just grab a pen and paper and then comment the number 2 in the chat. All right, Marilyn, Dick, let's see who else. Hey, Don, good to see you as well. Good to see you, Don. Put a 2 in the chat once you have something to write down, because we're going to go through this information fast. We only have about an hour each day, which you're like, Michael, that's a long time. No, it's going to go by really fast. So make sure, Carrie, I see you have, Karen has a pen and paper. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But lastly, I'll say this. This week, we are going to challenge you. That's why it's called the Replace Your Income Challenge. It's not replace your income, set in your ways and set in your comfort. We're going to push you out of your comfort zone this week. So if I could encourage you to do anything this week, is just open your mind, open your heart to what's possible. We've been fed these ways of investing, fed these ways and lies and beliefs about money. But this week, you're going to easily see that it can change. It can change. And so I hope you guys are ready for this. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Are we ready? Just let us know in the chat. Hey, Frank. Hey, Denny. Good to see you all as well. But listen, what I want to do is today, as we open up, today's going to be the foundation. Dave and Doc are going to share some of the foundational truths you need to grab a hold of to really maximize this week, but maximize your finances. And so actually what we're going to do today, Dave is not with us today. Dave actually is on a trip right now. And so what we're going to do is, Dave, we're going to play a quick video of Dave welcoming you all into the challenge since he couldn't be here today. He'll be here the rest of the week. But we want to go ahead and play a quick video of Dave, and then Doc's going to come up. Doc is here live with us. Everybody put in the chat, what's up, Doc? Everybody put that in the chat real quick. What's up, Doc? We're going to go ahead, play a video of Dave welcoming you in. He's going to do a short lesson, and then Doc's gonna come up here live and end it all out with a powerful word as well. Now, if you're VIP, just so you know, at the very end, don't leave. Once Doc's done with his teaching, don't leave, because we have Q&A right after for you all, and it's gonna be powerful that you stay in the room. All right. So without Brian says this is duck season. I like that. I love that. I love that. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play this video of Dave welcoming you all in. And thank you again for being here in the Replace Your Income Challenge.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 12-Minute Trading Replace Your Income Challenge. My name is Dave Lucas, founder of 12-Minute Trading, and in just a few minutes, you're also going to be hearing from Doc Severson as I turn things over to him. Now, as Michael shared with you, this is a recording. I was all set to be here with you live this evening, but through a wonderful stroke of luck, I am going to be in just the first few rows off the field at the College Football National Championship game this evening, cheering on my Ohio State Buckeyes. For those of you that don't know me, I am a lifelong Ohio resident and I played football through college. One thing that has always been on my bucket list for many years is to be able to take my father to an Ohio State National Championship game. And I finally got the chance to do that. It really is one of those once in a lifetime experiences. And I'm able to do it because I control my income, my schedule, and I've created financial freedom for my family. And that is exactly what Doc and I aim to help put you on the path through this challenge this week. We have an absolutely amazing week planned for you, so you don't want to miss a second. And don't worry, I catch a flight early in the AM and we'll be back live with you for tomorrow's session and cannot wait to see everyone and hang with all the VIPs. Before I jump into what I have to share with you today, for the benefit of our crew, just to make sure everything is working right, please let them know that you can see and hear me okay. You can do it in the Facebook group, or as a VIP, you can do it in the chat and Zoom. So I'll pause for a second and pull up the things I want to share while you let them know. Okay, let's jump into everything. Now, before I do, as part of the housekeeping, those pesky lawyers require us to show the disclaimer and let you know that neither Doc or I or financial advisors, nor should we be thought of as one. This event is for informational and educational purposes. You should always consult your financial advisor for your needs. You and you alone are responsible for your financial decisions. Whew, glad that's over. All right. Just a little bit about me. For those of you that don't know who I am, I started out almost 25 years ago in my car making less than $1,000 per month in my first business. I was even dressing up as cartoon characters and stuff for kids' birthday parties, serving and bouncing also at a nightclub to make ends meet, barely making ends meet by the end of the month, working literally 18 to 20 hours a day. I knew I needed to learn what I did not know. So I went to work in the Fortune 500 space for about 6 years. I effectively scuttled that business, got out of it for basically nothing, and went to work in the Fortune 500 space. And I had a lot of success where I ended up being able to spend my extra time and weekends traveling to meet and learn from some of the most successful and wealthy that I could find. And I got to sit down across the table from people like Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, a number of millionaires, and even a couple billionaires. And I had one goal. I was looking for the consistent habits and patterns that made them and kept them successful. As I started to figure these out, I put them into practice for myself and into the businesses that I moved on to, reaching levels of success and applying them, in a bunch of areas of my life. And it really started to make a difference. And after some prodding, I wrote a best-selling book called The 10-Year Career, sharing these principles to help others. Early in my career, I started investing in real estate and then the markets. But like most people, when I was in the markets, I would win, I would give back. I would win, I didn't really get anywhere, right? And then when I took a 70% pay cut to leave the corporate world and focus on building what became my largest business, my wife and I were in the process of adopting our daughter, Hannah from China. And I was so determined not to have to finance my daughter and go into debt to bring her home. So I took the principles that I learned in investing in real estate, figured a few things out, which I'm going to share with you in a bit, and transfer them to trading the markets. And my goal was to create a consistent income to help fund our adoption while working 80 plus hours a week building my business. And today, the 12-minute trading strategies are the result of that. Now, I've gone on to build a number of other businesses over the years, obviously 12-minute trading, the Misfit Entrepreneur, real estate, business holding companies, and larger software companies that have been on the Inc. 5000 and Entrepreneur 360 list 6 times. I was fortunate to sell one of them and semi-retire, spending more time with my family and focusing on one of my passions, which is Ironman racing, which I'm blessed to be ranked top 2% in the world. But probably my biggest passion has always been building wealth through investing and trading the markets and helping others to enrich their financial lives by teaching them how to have a trading business that produces professional trader like income without spending professional trader like time. And that's what we do here at 12-minute trading. So over 15 years ago, I was actually fortunate to meet Doc, and we've worked together in one capacity or another in the investing education space ever since until he joined 12-minute trading as our lead mentor and daily trade room instructor about 5 years ago. And together we built one of the top education income investing services out there. As I mentioned, Doc is going to take over in a bit in depth and really go into a multiple of our core concepts. But I wanted to talk to you about the real challenge that faces traders from an industry standpoint today. For many, it's something that they don't even realize or really think about. All right. So, first, I want to share some stats with you. They're pretty eye-opening, right? 80% of all day traders quit within their first 2 years. Among all day traders, nearly 40% day trade for only 1 month. Within 3 years, only 13% continue to day trade. After 5 years, only 7% remain. The average individual investor underperforms a market index by 1.5% per year. Active traders underperform by 6.5% annually. Day traders with strong past performance go on to earn strong returns in the future, though only about 1% of all day traders are able to predictably profit net of fees. Profitable day traders make up a small portion of all traders, 1.6% on average. Gosh, after seeing those stats, I can understand how it may be a little bit discouraging, and many of you probably can relate to some of them. I know I did. Like I said, I was that guy. I'd win a trade, I'd give it back on the next, and so on, and not really getting where it's like being on the hamster wheel, right? And I was those traders when I started out. But the bigger question to ask after reading those is why are those the stats? Why aren't more traders successful? Well, it's because the game is truly rigged. You've seen all the advertisements, you watch the financial news channels. The message is very clear. You need us, the financial industry, to make it. And they have set it up and, yes, rigged it to work against individual investors like you and me. But don't worry, by the end of our time together here in a bit, I'm going to show you how you can flip those odds in your favor. And as noted on the last slide, for decades, the message has been clear. You need financial professionals to manage your money. But the truth is, as you can see, these professionals fail to outperform the S&P 500 almost 90% of the time. If they can't beat the market, why do they keep telling us to give them our money? And more importantly, why are we handing over our hard-earned money to them? Well, the answer is simple. Number one, it's marketing, right? And number two, fees. This is how all these companies make their money. Most people are told to invest for the long term and put their money into a retirement vehicle like a 401k. And investment firms want you to do that as early as possible. Why? Fees. If you look at the screen, it shows a simple example of $10,000 invested over 40 years in a typical mutual fund with a 2% expense ratio like you'd see in a 401k versus just putting your money in an index fund with a low expense ratio. The difference is astonishing. Almost $230,000 is lost to fees over the life of that investment, or about 50% of the potential return. That's why these companies don't care if they beat the market. They're raking in everything they need just from having your money and the fees they collect. Now, I'm not saying 401ks and retirement vehicles aren't something to invest in and do that stuff, but you just have to understand what comes along with them and plan accordingly, right? But it's amazing. Here's a great example, and I pulled this off Twitter in the last week from the supposed wonder kid, Kathy Wood of ARK fame. She has lost so much money in her fund that there are years worth of losses to write off against any profits, and she calls this a benefit. This is someone who lost almost 40% of her clients' money in the last 3 years, and she wants them to give her more money, saying she's done well because the losses they have are a benefit. You really can't make this up. But yet people will give her money and they will invest in her fund, following the advertising, the advice of financial advisors, collecting their fees. So I'm going to stop here. And I also want to say, I know that there are some great financial advisors out there. I know some of them. There's some amazing people out there. They truly care about their clients. And they do really well for their clients, typically because they're using non-traditional investment vehicles that apply only to accredited investors. The problem is that most have to play in the system the way that it was developed and built, and their hands are tied. I'm going to share an incredible story that happened with me personally on this actually in a bit. But for now, here's the truth. If you play their game by their rules, it's very hard to win, and you get stuck in the system, which is exactly what they want. The same goes for traders that follow the traditional advice of buy stocks and do what? Hope they go up, right? Well, hope's not a strategy for anything, especially in the most competitive game in the world, and that's the markets. Many of you, like I mentioned before, have been through that investing roller coaster where you buy a stock, it goes up some, and then it goes down and you lose some, and then you sell it, and then you get in the next one because you think it's going up, and then that goes down. You win and you give it back, and the gains on the next trade go to the losses on the next one, and so on. You put a lot of work in, but you have little to show for it. And this is because you are playing their game and they're the house and you are the gambler and the house always wins. But what if you could turn the tables on them? What if you could become the house? Did you know that it is incredibly easy to put the odds of winning in your favor just by the types of trades you select to do before you ever even place a trade? Did you know that there are strategies that make money for you no matter what the market does? Have you ever wondered how companies like Goldman Sachs and others just seem to print money? And lastly, have you ever thought there has to be a better, easier, less time-consuming way to make money in the markets? Your goal is not to beat the big guys at their game because, as I've shared, in reality, you can't. You can't do better than the pros and these quants and everybody that they pay millions of dollars to lay fiber optic lines to their trading floors so trades execute faster. They can move millions of shares at a time, right? And move markets, right? Almost impossible as an individual to compete with that. But what you can do is win by trading in the margins, not with them, not against them. And Doc and I are going to show you how to do this step by step by the end of this week. You'll have the tools, knowledge, and capability to do so. You're going to learn that you can beat the big guys because you're smaller, you're more nimble, you don't have to play their game. So let me show you what I mean. There's not a lot of leverage in buying and holding a stock or an option. If you think about it, if you buy a stock or an option, how do you make money? It's not a trick question. For a stock, it has to go up. For an option, it has to go in the direction that you bought it for. So, for example, if you buy a call, the underlying has to go up. If you buy a put, the underlying has to go down. Now, don't worry. If you don't know anything about options, by the end of this week, you will know everything you need to know. Okay? But just understand that it has to go in a direction, right, for you to make money. And most are like, hey, it has to go up if you buy a stock. Well, did you know or ever think about the fact that a stock or an underlying can go three different ways? It can go up, it can go down, or it can stay the same. So that means that just straight up buying a stock or an option gives you only a 33% chance of making money. Now, to put that in perspective, the odds of winning a hand at a blackjack table in Vegas are 46.36%. You are literally better off taking your money to the casino versus just buying a stock or an option. And to me, when I finally understood this, it meant that when it came to building a business, a trading strategy, or anything, you really cannot leave any stone unturned. You have to set things up to account for everything and have control over the whole process, or as much as possible that you want, so you can be consistently successful. And this is why for me it wasn't just enough to learn that buying a stock or an option is a bad idea. It was creating a system around all aspects of the trades that I was going to do that would make the difference. And that brings me to the principles of the 12-minute trading system and strategies. In the next few slides, I'm going to show you how to set yourself up for better success in your trading and investing. I'm also going to show you a unique way of looking at investing in the stock market that you're not going to hear anywhere else. All right, so let's jump into this. Once you decide to become successful and wealthy, one of the best forms of leverage is to study those that have made it and to learn from them to help accomplish the same results, right? Looking at the Forbes 400 wealthiest list, immediately something sticks way out. The vast majority made their fortune in one of three ways, or a combination of them: owning or building businesses, investments, or real estate. Successful market investors understand the other two areas, building business and real estate, that the wealthiest use to gain their wealth, and they use principles from these areas to succeed in the markets. They look for asymmetric risk, which means you take a small risk for a big return, or you're hedged, or you make sure that you limit your downside, right? They leverage those secrets to help them succeed at a higher level. And a trading business should be the same, right? Great businesses are a collection of systems and infrastructure that work symbiotically with other and can continue to grow and produce without the owner or the founder being there. A trading business should be the same. Otherwise, you're just creating a job for yourself, right? You don't want to sit in front of a computer for 12 hours a day, right? Wouldn't you like to have a trading business that works for you without you having to be there and looking at the market or worrying about your trades? Of course you would. Would you like to be able to better fund the life you want? I know you would. And with that in mind, the 12-minute trading system principles can really be summed up in three simple steps. Number one, put the 67% odds in your favor before you ever make a trade. Real traders know how to find and maximize an edge, and that's what we do at 12-minute trading. When I realized that you have a 33% chance of making money in buying, the first thing that I thought was, who has the 67% chance? Because that's who I want to be. And it's the sellers. We primarily sell options because it turns us into the house and not the gambler. We're basically selling to the suckers in the casino, and the house over time always wins. Additionally, when you sell something, you get paid. So we're always getting paid up front to take on any risk. Lastly, selling gives us control, which one of the secrets of the rich, right, is to have control. And you'll understand that more and more as we go through the challenge this week and the different strategies. You truly can control the outcomes of your trades in the market. A lot of people don't know that. Step number two, you increase those odds. This is part of the system part of it, the business part of it, by having a solid tested set of rules for entry, defense, and exit. Over the years, Doc and I have developed specific criteria for entering trades that helps us maximize, mitigate the chance of loss. And this has helped give me personally an over 90% win rate. And I track and share all my trades going all the way back to 2013 with my students. But with an over 90% win rate, that means less than 1 in 10 will have an issue or get in danger of being attacked. And it happens rarely, but I have a whole set of defensive rules that I employ that help to ensure that I stay profitable. And lastly, I have clear profit targets for when I exit that I stay disciplined with. All right, step number three, focus on consistent cash flow, income through base hits and not home runs. So we focus on consistent, repeatable returns, or what we like to call base hits. And we achieve that over and over and over again. And these base hits add up to home run like returns over time, and they make for a nice, consistent cash flow business without the typical roller coaster ride of winning on a trade, giving it back the next, and so on, like most traders experience. We've proven these strategies can and do win over 90% of the time, even in bear markets. In fact, as many of our students know, many of our strategies, I have ones like the double doubles and the 50-50s. I'm going to show you those in the coming days that have win rates well over 90%. And that's the power of selling options, because you don't have to be right. Let's say that again. Selling options, you don't have to be right. You don't have to call a direction or know it's going to go, try to like say, I know it's going a certain way, or hope for it to work out, right? You can make money no matter what the market does, no matter which way a stock or an index goes. And yes, you can do it in less than 12 minutes a day. In fact, for some strategies, I trade just once a week for about 5 minutes to achieve my goals. So let me sum it up for you. By choosing to sell options, we put the odds in our favor at 67%. We increase those odds to over 90% through how we enter and manage trades, including using our proprietary indicators and time-tested rules. We'll show you those throughout this week. We effectively become the house selling to the suckers in the casino, creating consistent cash flow from the markets, and we do it in less than 10 to 12 minutes a day. And guess what? You can do it too. I had to work a good old Rob Schneider cameo in there somewhere, but hopefully you're starting to see the power of looking at trading in the markets this way. And before I turn it over to Doc, I mentioned earlier, I want to share a short story with you about when I tried to give some money to the pros and what happened. A few years ago, I had over $1 million in excess cash outside of my dedicated trading capital and the capital that I invest in real estate and other alternative investments. I decided to hand it over to a private banking institution that had a stellar reputation. My goal was simple: preserve capital and achieve a 6 to 8% annual return, letting it grow, keeping that capital base fairly liquid so that I could access it for better investments in the future as they came along. Their fee was 0.8%, which seemed reasonable at the time compared to mutual funds and other things that were out there. And this group had access to some municipal bonds that I wanted some of the money invested in because they had some great tax benefits here in Ohio. They were going to put about 300,000 of that in blue chip bellwether dividend stocks that they could actively manage to help me meet my goal. Fast forward to 2022 during the bear market, they had lost $60,000 on the stock portion of the portfolio. When I approached them questioning why they weren't meeting the goal of capital preservation by actively managing the stock side of the portfolio, they gave me the same old story. Well, markets go down, you just buy and hold, and eventually it'll recover. Well, that may be so, but that wasn't the goal of why I gave them the money. And I was paying them $8,000 annually for this advice. I was really shocked. So I sat down with the investment manager and I proposed a simple strategy using some of the recently released high yield dividend funds like JEPI and JEPQ. They were paying about 8 to 10% annually at the time. And they made their dividend payments monthly, which created nice cash flow and allowed for compounding. I showed them how they could sell a covered call on JEPI and use the premium from that call to buy a put, creating what's called a collar to protect against downside risk, effectively ensuring that the investment could not lose. The manager admitted to me after I walked through this with him, Dave, what you just shared is exactly what we should be doing for our clients, but we will never do it because it would be considered too risky. Too risky? I laughed. Riskier than losing money and hoping that the market goes up? I, I told him I'm showing you a tried and true simple strategy to protect against the downside risk and make even more for me than we targeted from the beginning of our relationship and provide more fees to you because we're making more money. The response was, I'm sorry, Dave. We agree with you, but we'll just never be allowed to do that. That was the moment that I knew I couldn't keep my money with them any longer. I closed my accounts, I took my money back, and I've been earning a consistent 10% return ever since with that exact same strategy on just a couple trades a year. And here's what that looks like over the next 10 years. Trading the collar by selling the call, using that money to buy the put, is our unique version on the traditional wheel strategy, which we'll talk about extensively through this week. But Doc will also show you is at the base of what we call our income pyramid. But it gives me total control and total protection on my investment, completely stacking the odds in my favor. And like I said, I cannot wait to dig into this more with you guys over the next few days and the other offshoots that we do from this. But I hope you can see from what I've shared in this example, the power that choosing the right type of trades gives you and why selling options is your ticket to income in the markets and to reach financial freedom. As I started, I approached this from more of an industry perspective and industry level. Now I'm going to turn it over to Doc to help you put yourself in the best position to win by better understanding yourself and how you can be a great trader. I'll be back with you live tomorrow and can't wait to spend all the time with you this week. So, Doc, they're all yours.
Okay, good evening, everybody. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the screen and we are going to do part 2 of tonight's presentation. Okay, so here we go. Can everybody please let me know that you can hear me and you can see the first slide of my presentation, which should say Replace Your Income Challenge. Okay, looking good. All right, away we go. So I'm gonna do this. We should be able to be finished right at the top of the hour for this. So I'm gonna go through this relatively quickly. If you do have a question, please save this for the end, and we'll take questions on the time remaining, and then we'll switch over to the VIP people. Okay, so again, same disclaimer here. I'm not going to be giving any recommendations tonight. Don't worry about that. You may or may not have heard of me before. So I've been around for the better part of 20 years now. So a lot of folks have heard of me. If you haven't heard of me, no big deal. I'm an individual trader performance coach since 2005. The current services that I work with are 12-minute trading through Dave. And also I've got a session that I do with my son, ReadySetCrypto.com. You may have heard of me at places like ReadySet.trade or OptionsMD or TheoTrade or Dox Trading Tools, or even the first service I started way back then, which is the Options Linebacker. My specialties are fractal price analysis, option trading and stock trading strategies, and trading mindset. And because of those topics, I had to write a couple of books to put everything into gear in terms of what I learned. One is Hacking the Holy Grail, which is really kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight, which is the mental side of trading. And it really is the holy grail of trading once you understand and once you master the mental side of things. And then the second book, which is more about trading strategies and understanding what the market is doing, is Fractal Energy Trading. So, of course, those are both on Amazon. Now, Dave talked about the external challenges to trading, how the market's rigged against you. What I want to drill down into a little bit deeper is called the inner challenge of trading and how to fix it. So in the next few minutes, I want to show you why your greatest opponent might not actually be the broader market, but your greatest challenge as an investor is very likely going to be you. Now, I like to do visuals with everything that I do because it gives you sort of an anchor and it lets you know. I mean, when I watch webinars, every 5 seconds, I'm going, what's in this for me? What's in this for me? What's in this for me? So I want to give you a visual anchor to show you that we're going to talk about the challenges, and then I'm going to show you 7 steps to better trading results. Okay, so I want to just expose these concepts to you tonight. Don't expect you to, and absolutely internalize all of them this evening, but I want you to remember them, and then when you're ready for them, you can take action against them. Okay, so first of all, as a former engineer, I always like to start off by what's the challenge that we need to fix? So what are some of the mental challenges that affect our trading performance? And you might start thinking of those yourself as I go through this. Like, what are the challenges that you've run into as a trader? Number one, and I think everybody goes through this to some degree, is what we call flying over the tops of the trees. Most of us start with a small account. We don't have an adequate margin of safety to handle any kind of a dip. If you dip your wing down, you're going to catch the top of a tree and you're going to auger right in. And that's unfortunately the same analogy with many small accounts. And I think everybody's gone through their own war stories with small accounts. Like, you start off with something small and you make it into a smaller account. So unfortunately, you're trading with scared money. We are trading not to lose instead of trading to win. Now, let me ask you this. What does a prevent defense, I'm going to make a football analogy here. What does a prevent defense ultimately do? It ultimately prevents the win. And for those of you that watched the Super Bowl a few years ago between the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots, they were up 33-3 at halftime, and then they sat back and they played not to lose. If you play not to lose instead of playing to win, you will lose in this market. So flying over the tops of the trees with a small account is definitely a challenge. The other thing that I think is taught to many people is you got to find this needle in the haystack in terms of the stock market. We are in a rush to get into a better situation. So we try to speed up our odds of success by trading anything and everything that walks or crawls. So if a strategy or technique doesn't work out immediately, then we abandon it and we try something else. So we're juggling so many things at the same time. We've got so many different stocks and so many different strategies going on at the same time. I myself ran into the same exact thing. Also, navigating without a map. A lot of us have a challenge of we don't really have a map to get to where we want to go. We're making it up on the fly based on our previous life experience, which is what we feel is the right thing to do. So whether or not you know it, you probably don't know this, but you've had a lifetime of bad investing advice and lessons coming to you through TV commercials. I remember one specifically, a guy is running a 5K race and he looks around and everybody's wearing the same kind of shoe, the same brand of shoe. So in the middle of his race, he ducks into an internet cafe, jumps on his online broker and buys 100 shares of that shoe company and then continues on his race. And those images are extremely powerful. They say, wow, I want to be successful too. I want to, maybe I should run out and, buy shares of things that are hot. And that's a terrible way to invest. Usually you're buying something at the very peak if it's hitting mass marketing like that. So we trust the direction of unknown strangers on the internet. We like to take advice from people, right? How many of you can, raise your hand to yourself if you want to, but how many of you will look at the number of stars an Amazon product has online before you order it? And if it's 3 stars or less, a lot of times you won't order that product. And it may be perfectly fine, but what you're doing is you're trusting on some unknown strangers to leave reviews that are objective, and of course they're not, or 5 stars by the same token. So we trust the direction of unknown strangers on the internet. And there's so many people I see that are taking literal stock advice from a Reddit subforum. So we trust the same general logic of risk avoidance that has kept us safe in our personal lives and career. More about that later. None of these are helping us succeed in investing. So if we see adverse movement in the market, that's an attack. And that's where we use our lizard brain, the fight or flight response. The brain does what it's born to do, which is to protect you at all costs from these threats. It will select fight or flight on impulse, neither of which are going to provide a good result. So using the lizard brain is not going to help us become a better investor. And then trading without an edge. A lot of us trade without an edge, and we don't even realize that we need an edge. So think about a baseball pitcher. If you're a good pitcher, if you're Greg Maddux, which is one of the best of all time, he knew the stats on every batter. He knew exactly where he could, bust him on the knuckles and then throw a slider on the outside part of the plate, kept him guessing the whole time. He knew exactly what their strengths and their weaknesses were. He avoided their strengths and he picked on their weaknesses. That was his edge. So most retail traders think that if you use a specific strategy, you have an edge. Or if you're using a specific type of chart or a time frame or an indicator or anything like that. Oh, there's a special indicator that this guy has. That's an edge. No, it's not. It's not true. There is no edge to that. There is a way to get edge in the markets. We'll talk about that later on in the week. So let's tackle these challenges head on. I'm going to share these 7 steps to better trading results. Step 1, think differently about risk. Hopefully you guys have seen the Alex Honnold documentary and the name escapes me right now, but this came out about maybe 5 years ago, and it was just unbelievable. I knew how the movie ended, and I'm still squirming in my seat watching it in the theater. It's just unbelievable. This guy is going up El Capitan in the Yosemite Park, 3,000 feet, just with his hands and his feet, no ropes. So how does he define risk? It's an interesting perspective because he talks about it in the movie. All of us are conditioned to think of risk in a bad way. Think about what your parents said. Oh, I don't want you going out with her or him. He's dangerous. He's risky. Don't drive that type of car. It's risky. Motorcycle riding, that's risky. Your parents drove this into you. And I did the same thing as a parent as well, too. Don't do that. That's risky. We want to keep them safe. So all this conditioning you had throughout your life, you get into the market, and what do you want to do? You want it to be safe. I've taken literally hundreds of phone calls from people saying, Doc, what's the safest trading strategy? And my answer is mutual fund, like certificate of deposit, right? If there's no risk, there's no reward. So you must find a way to not care about the outcome of the trade in order to manage it effectively. You can't let this sense of risk. If you put a trade on and your pulse goes up, probably doing something wrong. Dave mentioned this before, and he said, real trading can be fairly boring. I know that's exciting because I enjoy the results of that, but real trading is actually no emotions whatsoever. It's relatively boring if you're doing it right. Risk is a tool and something to be managed and not avoided. So I want you to think differently about risk from tonight on. We'll challenge you on that. Okay, step 2. There are approximately 5,700 stocks listed on the NYSE and NASDAQ exchanges. Does that mean you need to trade all of them? I want you to specialize and focus. One mistake that newer investors make is to think that they need to trade all of them, or they need to have a watch list with like 300 stocks on it. That is not what you need to do. We end up becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. If you've ever seen the movie City Slickers, there's a great scene that's in there. There's this Jack Palance is the actor for this, and he is in the movie. His name is Curly. And if you search on YouTube, find this little. It's like a 3-minute video. It's called Curly One Thing. Curly One Thing, and it changed the way that I think about investing. And this is when I saw it a long time ago. And if I had not watched that little 3-minute video, I probably wouldn't be talking with you tonight. What I want you to do is to find your one thing. There's one thing I want you to be the best in the world at. And I'm not going to be able to tell you what that is. Only that is going to come from yourself. You have to internalize that. My own trading career did not take off until I literally swept my desk and said, all right, I'm shutting down all of my positions, closing everything, and I'm going to determine one stock, one chart, one strategy, and I'm going to master that. And you'd be surprised how quickly things move when you do that. I want you to specialize and focus. I don't want you to diversify. I don't want you to spread your basket. I want you to pick one thing, and I want you to specialize in that. Step 3. I want you to define your edge. Most retail traders don't have a trading edge, nor do they know what a trading edge is. Ask yourself, do you know what a trading edge is? Without a true trading edge, the house will always come out ahead. This is why casinos will kick people out for counting cards in blackjack. Like, you have an edge, you're counting cards, you're keeping track of the probabilities for the next draw, you're out of here. Please don't come back. the broker wins no matter what. The house will always come out ahead and the broker will always win in our game. So what I want you to do is to find your edge. I want you to think about it tonight. You may not have an answer to it, but what I want you to encourage you to do is, on a general basis, if you find that everybody thinks the same way, I want you to consider going in the opposite direction. Start getting used to thinking independently. Start getting used to thinking on your own and stop looking for other people to tell you what to do. So this is one of the simplest edges. This is called contrarian thinking. It is very difficult to do, and it took me a long time to even, I would say, get functional at it. Because when I started investing, I was doing the same thing everybody else was, and I was getting the same results as everybody else. But if you want different results, if you want exceptional results, you have to think differently than everybody else. You have to go against the herd. It's going to be the most difficult thing that you've done. My favorite thing to do is to go watch a football game on Saturday with 100,000 of my favorite, my best friends, right? It's great. It's empowering. You're part of something that's much bigger than you. But you've got to leave that at the door if you're going to be a good investor. You have to learn to think independently. You have to be able to, if you're working in a team or a husband-wife scenario, you have to be able to be strong enough to challenge each other and avoid the groupthink. So this could be one of your best edges, and it's a universal one. Your edge will not come from following others on social media. It takes real dedication and independence to define and build a trading edge. Okay, step 4. I hope you've heard the expression, if you fail to plan, then plan to fail. This is a pretty obvious one, but I have to say it. This is one of the 7 you've got to do. It's extremely important for you to develop both a business plan as well as a trading plan for every strategy that you do. Besides being important business trading tools, building these plans send a message to your subconscious brain that you deserve to profit. Now, when I work with most people, they build a business plan and then it becomes shelfware. They stick it up on the shelf and they pat themselves in the back and they say, yep, I built a business plan. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. The point here for building a business plan is not only to allow you to run your business, but also for your own brain to teach it that you're taking this seriously. This is not just a hobby. This is, a lot of you get resistance from family members. Like, are you kidding? You can't be serious. You're doing that with our money. That's just gambling. And then you don't really have a good response to that. But what if you're running a business? And as we're going to show you tomorrow, you're going to be the one-person insurance company, TOPIC. The one-person insurance company. You're going to run your business like an insurance company, which, if you ask most people, is one of the most conservative business models that's out there. It's accepting premiums for managing risk. That's what we do. But it also sends a very important message to your brain that, hey, I am a professional at this. I deserve to succeed at this. Step number 5 of the 7 steps to better trading results. Iterate and improve. The human mind craves progress. We've got to have progress. There's not a whole lot of people. This is why so many people, I think there's an actual date in January where people quit going to the gym. It's gym quit day or something, and it's maybe 2 to 3 weeks into the month. And they wonder why they signed up for Planet Fitness. The human mind craves progress. Got to have it. If we experience a little success, we'll stick with something and keep moving forward as long as we sense progress. But the moment that we stall out or sense resistance to progress, we're off hunting down the next holy grail trading method. I see this all the time. So somebody will invest in a program and, read the book, they'll buy the program, they'll do whatever, they'll commit themselves to the program. And they'll actually at some point take a couple of trades. And guess what? They don't usually work out. Why? Because they're trading not to lose. They wait for too long. So when it's obvious and they're actually going with the herd at the very end, and they usually get run over. So what they do at this point is they say, well, that's no good. I'm not feeling any sense of progress here, but look at this bright, shiny penny over here. Look at this guy selling this program. This looks really easy. I'm really motivated and excited. So you get a whole crowd of people thundering over here to buy this program. And so they go through the same thing again. They iterate, they study, they read the books, they buy the programs, they install the software, they take a couple of trades. Those don't work out. And so once again, they're left, oh no, I put all this money in, this is not working out. My spouse is not supporting me anymore. Oh, but look at this bright, shiny penny over here. Look at this program, this looks great. And so we just keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Sometimes we actually go back to where we started and we just go in this. This is what I see from so many investors. Instead of somebody having 5 years of experience, what I see is somebody having 1 year of experience 5 times. And they've learned a lot of things, and it sounds good at parties, but they're not making any money. So what I want you to do is get into this type of cycle here. I want you to actually define what your goals are through your business plan. I want you to write out your rules and your trading plan. I want you to get some results. Get out there and get some data points. And then here's the most important thing. Analyze what went wrong. If the trade didn't work out, actually, the best thing that can happen to you is the trade not working out. You're not going to learn anything at all from a winning trade. But a losing trade is a goldmine of information. You can understand what you did right or wrong, or what the market did, or what the strategy did right or wrong, anything like that. Make corrections. Go back to your goals. Are they correct? Are they too aggressive? Not aggressive enough? Do your rules need to be changed? Okay, let's edit things. Let's put it into play again. Oh, we have another data point now. And so what I want you to think of is this process. You're gonna take this process and go continually, and you're going to raise this level of competency up like this with every iteration that you do. I'll tell you what, I mean, this is kind of nerdy of me, but when I finish a trade, I can't wait to log it. I can't wait to let's go log this thing, because I've got to that point where that's my motivation, because I know that this works. I know that this makes me better at this. This to me is the holy grail. This is the holy grail of trading. It's not some strategy. It's not some magic stock. It's not some indicator that you buy and put on your charting program. It's this. It's understanding what you want to do, and it's taking the time to get better and better and better at it. Iterate and improve. That is where the magic happens, guys. You will be unstoppable if you can do this. There is a reason why Tiger Woods at his peak would finish a round and go right back to the driving range to work out kinks for the next day. I mean, who else does that? Nobody before him, and now everybody does it. Let's go to step 6 of the 7 steps to better trading results. Now, you've probably heard some lip service to building a trader's mindset. Thoughts become things. As you think, you will manifest what you think, whether it's positive or negative. If you have found your one thing, built a plan, and executed dozens of trades, then your mind rightly believes that you've earned the right. And actually, what I tell people all the time is, If I show you a strategy, if I show you a technique, my goal is for you to think that you invented it, not me. I want nothing to do with it. I want you to put so much time into every strategy that you're convinced that you thought of it yourself, that you can't remember where it came from, but as far as you're concerned, you've always been doing it this way. You've now earned the right. You've internalized that strategy. Your subconscious mind is no fool. If you've mailed it in, if you're faking it, it will know. And any profits that you do win will be summarily given back. I'm sure some of you have already felt this. There is one narrow, singular path to success in trading. I've never seen a shortcut. There's one very narrow path. There's no shortcuts. There's no, you can't jump over here. You can't jump over here. You can't jump. Everybody wants to jump right to the end. It doesn't work that way. And it's based on the mindset. The mindset is the most important asset and liability that you have. You actually want to pursue the long cut. This is a, what's that guy's name? Not Seth Rogen. It's Seth Godin. It's a Seth Godin concept, the long cut, if you want to be successful. And that starts by earning the right to have a trader's mindset. You know what you're trading and why. You know what your edge is. You're managing risk. You know your stop. You have a plan and you're following it. You deserve to profit from this trade. That's what a trader's mindset is. And now we get up to step 7, and this should get us right in time. We are what we habitually do every day. You got to build the right habits. Each action that we take is a vote for the type of person that we hope to be. So if you want to be a profitable trader earning monthly income, what type of habits and actions would that person display? Think about that answer to yourself. Build the right habits. So success is not a step function where you wake up one day and you become profitable. Progress occurs by the aggregation of marginal gains. And this is a little graphic from James Clear. If I were to go up to you and say, all right, we're going to work together for 1 year. Do you think that you could get 1% better every day? If I were to challenge you and say, could you do this? If we were going to work together every single day for the next 365 days, could you commit to getting 1% better every day? And I think most people on the call would probably say, yeah, I could do that. You know, you could probably get 1% better at something in 5 minutes if you just make some realizations and work at something. And so you come back the next day and you say, I did it. I got 1% better. I'm measurably better at what I'm doing. So I would say, okay, all right, do it again tonight. And then the day after that. If you do this, if you get 1% better every day, at the end of the year, you're going to be 38 times better at something. Whereas if you get 1% worse every day, you'll vector down to 0. So what's the problem here? People don't focus on getting better. They don't go through that process that I showed them. That's the holy grail right there. Progress occurs by the aggregation of marginal gains. We don't have the patience. We want the shortcut. We want to go right to being profitable on things. And that's nice to want to get there. But the way it actually works is by little tiny habits every single day. If you want to know more about this, I would recommend reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. I got lucky enough to have lunch with this guy before his book got released back in 2018. And it was extremely impactful for me. Or also Scott Adams, who is the cartoonist behind Dilbert, also wrote a book very similar to this and about building systems. Forget about goals, build systems to make sure that your goals are met. Okay, so that is the section of presentation for me. Now, before I let you go, I've got a little bit of homework. And then we're going to go over to the VIP Q&A. So what I want you guys to do is write what's called a day in the life paper. Date it exactly 1 year from today. So this is going to be January 20th, 2026. And I want you to describe your day in full detail, exactly how it unfolds. Start from the beginning of the day, from when you wake up all the way until you tuck yourself in at night. I want you to make it compelling, vivid, exciting. Don't limit yourself based on today's limitations. The story should spill out of you. I want you to open yourself up and talk about what you can do, where your dreams would put you a year from now without limitations. And then once you do that, keep reading it and feeling it. And very soon you'll convince yourself that it's not only possible, but a certainty. I'll tell you what, one little thing here before we wrap here is that my mentor made me do this back in 2004. He sat me down and he goes, I want you to write a day in the life paper and I want you to turn it in to me tomorrow. And I went crazy on that day in the life paper. I had a lot of fun with it. I talked about exactly what I wanted to do. I want to be trading for a living. I want to be working with my son and showing him the business and doing everything. And damned if it wasn't 6 months later, I was doing exactly what was on there. It blew me away. And the only way that you're going to experience this is if you do it yourself. So that's what I want you to do. You don't have to hand it in to me. You're going to keep it yourself. But I want you to remember this day, because if you treat this exercise in the manner and the seriousness that you should, this will be a life changer for you. Do your day in the life. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Mike. That is the end of my material. And I will meet most of you tomorrow night. And I'm going to recircle back with the VIP folks here for the Q&A session. So Mike, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me know in the chat if you can see me and hear me, just give me a thumbs up, Mr. Hoffman, if you can see me and you can hear me. There we go. I'm just relying on Tom because he's right front and center with me. So listen, did everybody enjoy that? I know that was like really the foundation, because if you do not have this piece to the puzzle will always be incomplete. If you do not have this piece and you do not master this piece, you will be banging your head like Doc said 5 years from now, saying, what did I do wrong, or what did I not do, right? So let us know in the chat, did you pick that up? Did you understand that? Let us know what your thoughts were. Let's just do what was one word to describe that session with Doc and with Dave? Or should I say the AI Dave? That's what it felt like, the AI Dave with us today. But let us know in the chat. Yes, HP, this replay will be available for you all throughout the week. I love, Sonny says this mindset, fire. I love it. Enlightening, eye-opening. Awesome. Well, listen, this week we are going to get deeper and deeper into this information. So if you thought, this went by so fast, I got you. Every day we're going to be building upon this, and we're going to go deeper into the trading strategy. So what I would recommend is everybody come in, be with us every day. If you can't make it every day live, the replays will be available. If you are general admission, the replays will be in the guides tab. All right, the guides tab in the Facebook group. That means if you go in the Facebook group, and team, can you actually drop the link to the Facebook group for VIP just to make sure they have it? But they'll be at the very top. There's a bar that says guides. It says featured guides, click guides, and it'll be listed there. But if you're a VIP, we're going to resend your portal in just a little bit to you, so you all can go ahead and log in and see the replay from last night and tonight. But listen, regardless of your VIP or general admission, go ahead and take action. Go ahead, take action on the homework, because we really, really want you guys to be making progress this week. Now, if you can, I'm going to challenge you to go one step further. If you're comfortable sharing your day in the life in the Facebook group to keep yourself accountable, I would love for you all to take a picture of it. If you write it down on a piece of paper, or if you type it out on a computer, take a screenshot of it and drop it in the Facebook group so we can all stay accountable and all uplift each other. That group, we have, I think, around 100 people in there. We'd love to use that group to continue pushing each other forward, okay? So Karen says, I used to follow Doc years ago. Imagine if I would have listened to him sooner. Well, Karen, there's no better time to start than today, right? There's no better time to start than today. So you all listen, if you are VIP, hang tight because we are going to go in straight into Q&A here in just a few minutes. Now, if you're general admission and you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook and you're like, how can I join the Zoom room? I don't want to be left out. I want to be a part of the Q&As. Listen, go ahead. The team's going to drop the VIP link right now. You can upgrade and join the Zoom room right now at this moment. I believe it's replaceyourincomechallenge.com/VIP-upgrade. I know it's a lot to remember, but the team's going to drop it in the chat for you all to click. replaceyourincomechallenge.com/VIP-upgrade. The team just dropped it. Thank you, team. I'm actually going to pin it here on both platforms. Go ahead, upgrade. It's only $97 to upgrade. You get Q&A all week. You get the replays a little longer than general admission, and you get $100 a day masterclass instantly when you purchase. So an additional training, an additional course you can watch whenever you upgrade to VIP. So go ahead, make sure you all are upgrading to VIP ASAP if you want to be in the room with us. But regardless if you choose VIP or not, we're going to be back here tomorrow, general admission at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for day number 2, okay? Everybody clap it up for yourselves real quick. Clap it up, clap it up. You made it past day 1. We're going to go into Q&A now. So VIP, what we're going to do is if you could use the hand raise feature, if you have a question at the bottom of your screen, I think there's a heart that says react. You can click that and then click raise hand, or it may just say raise hand. You can come up if you have a question, or you could type your question in the chat. So Doc, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you, and we're going to go ahead into the VIP portion. General admission.